Boy, it sure is a pleasure. And I've talked to this guy before, Max Weinberg, who, well, coming up on 49 years, will be the drummer for the boss, Bruce Springsteen, and the E Street Band. And he's going to bring his Jukebox show to the Thrasher in Green Lake this Saturday night. Good morning, Max.
Good morning, Wayne. How are you? Nice to talk to you.
Doesn't seem possible. 49 years as the drummer for the boss. Time flies by.
Well, yeah, and it gets faster and faster and faster. I joined the E Street Band after auditioning for Bruce and the guys in August of '74. Yeah, so it's been quite a long ride, and I've loved it, enjoyed it.
Well, you've done a great job. All of those memories and all that stuff, you could go on and on with that. But this Saturday, it's your Max Weinberg Jukebox coming to the Thrasher. And tell us a little bit about that. And you were there last year, too, weren't you?
Yeah, I believe it was early last year, and we had an incredible time. It was Saturday night, as this is, the 22nd coming up, and the people in the audience, it was packed, and they were literally dancing in the aisles. And we do so many of these shows. We've done about 300 since 2017, and the Thrasher Opera House really has always stood out as, I'm not just saying this, really one of the best. People were so enthusiastic. And we were on a sort of a Midwest swing at that time and drove into town, didn't know what to expect. And the citizens there, the people who came out, absolutely blew our minds. So we're really looking forward to another Jukebox show. This is, of course, where people in the audience pick the songs from a revolving video scroll, and we just fulfill their expectations and the songs that they choose in real time. So we don't know what we're going to play.
It's all ad lib.
Well, yeah, the guys are great. We have a respect and a love for this music that we grew up with. I'm a little bit older than everybody, but in many cases, it's the music that I learned how to play the drums by listening to and playing to as a kid. And, after doing this for this long, it occurs to me that a lot of these songs make up this body of musical literature that was such a renaissance in the 60s and 70s. We do a few 50s songs, one or two 80s songs, but particularly focusing on the 60s, it was a renaissance of music when you had, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Rolling Stones, Aretha Franklin, Sam and Dave, Jimi Hendrix, the Doors, and on and on and on, all on the charts at the same time. And I think that qualifies as a renaissance. So we kind of pay tribute to that era rather than any one particular band. You could have Frank Sinatra right next to the Beatles and Dean Martin, and there was a tremendous freedom in the fact that there was regionalism in music. You had the New York sound, you had L.A., Atlanta, Chicago. So it was quite a different time back then. And late at night, I grew up in New Jersey, but late at night, you used to be able to get a station out of Detroit, CKLW, and they played songs that you never heard on the New York, New Jersey area stations. This was late at night, and actually I think it was referred to as Clear Channel because there wasn't a lot of interference. And I'm talking AM radio, like old car radio and transistor radio. And so it was a musical education. I have fun playing these songs, and whether I'm working with Bruce and the E Street Band or my own groups, or going to at a wedding or a bar mitzvah and they're playing an old Motown song, I can sit in and I go right back to those eras.
Besides getting requests for some of Bruce's songs, are there any other songs or artists that you really get into and enjoy playing?
Well, it's always fun to sort of try to replicate Ringo playing on all those Beatles songs. And the gentleman with whom I'm playing at the Thrasher specialize in Beatles stuff. Great singers and great instrumentalists. The Beatles were, and the gentleman, as I say, I'm playing with are as well. So I get a kick out of, nobody's Ringo Starr, but I get a kick out of trying to nail not only the parts, the actual drum parts, but what transmitted to me was the fun the guy was having making these records and playing live performances. So I have always actually, Wayne, taken every song one at a time, individually, and tried to play them the best that I can at any given moment, whether it's a song by Bruce, or the Rolling Stones, or the Beatles, anybody. That's the drummer's job. And if you respect the music and sort of respect the original kind of arrangements and the original intent, it comes off great. It's when you use these songs as a jumping off point for showing off your musicianship. So this isn't about my drumming, this show, the Jukebox show. It's really about paying homage to this era, these songs. Of course, I love playing the Bruce songs, and we do a few, and those are fun. We do our own little take on Bruce's She's the One. So we're happy to play any of those songs. Pink Cadillac is one of my favorites to play because the beat is so simple, but it's not easy. So simplicity is actually generally harder than being flamboyant. And I count myself among the drummers that are not particularly flamboyant, but lay it down, be a good foundation, for the other musicians, and play the song. It's all about that. And for any drummers out there, my advice is just that, to play the song and play what's right for the song. And you'll get your chance to shine by doing that, actually. I've always considered myself an accompanist, and when it comes time to show off, I can do that too. But drummers typically don't get hired to be show-offs. They get hired to be accompanists. That's how I actually got in the E Street Band, because I understood that concept, even though at the time I was only 23.
I'm talking with Max Weinberg, and Max's Jukebox show will be at the Thrasher in Green Lake this Saturday night at 7:30. Altogether, there's 4 members in your group. Tell us about the other guys.
Yeah, well, on this date, I've got 3 members of a fabulous group that are sort of based in the New York metropolitan area called the Weaklings. And I love these guys, along with their drummer, Joe Belia, who's a dear friend of mine. And they are Bob Berger, who guitar and vocals, Glenn Burtnick, who's bass and vocals, and John Rajabi, who's guitar and vocals. And it's a 4-piece band like the Beatles, 2 guitars, bass, and drums. Though we're not the Beatles, but that's the instrumentation. And what I love about these guys is their attention to the detail in the songs. So as I say, it's not, some of these songs are 60, 70 years old. And it's not about, taking a 3-minute rock song from 1958 and turning it into something else. It's about, for us anyway, it's about, being 12 and 13-year-old kids with your ear pressed up to the left channel of a stereo record to try to figure out what the lyrics were. Those of your listeners who are my age category remember doing that. And the Weaklings are a terrific group who make great videos. They kind of play power pop. And we've done gigs together, and I have a revolving cast of characters because everybody plays in different combinations with people. So the group that's going to be at the Thrasher is my so-called A-team. It's 3 guys from, as I say, this band, the Weaklings. And I would encourage people to check them out on YouTube. They've got fabulous videos, really fun videos, almost like the Monkees TV show. We aim to please. We'll play whatever anybody wants to hear. The show's about an hour and a half long. As you said, it starts around 7:30, and bring your dancing shoes, because this coming Saturday, the 22nd of October, that audience got a lot to live up to in Green Lake, because the last time the rafters were shaking. And not from us, from the people dancing in the aisles. And it's a fun evening. We try to play a lot of songs, and we end up doing that. And by the time we're done, we're done. And like I said, we don't, it's not a super late night, so it's great for people who appreciate this era of songs. But you'll hear everything from Tommy James and the Shondells to as I say, the Monkees, the Eagles, the Kinks, all the English groups, the Who, just a tremendous cross section, just like the Billboard 200 or Hot 100, the singles, from 50 years ago.
It's going to be a great night at the Thrasher this Saturday night. Max Weinberg's Jukebox. It starts at 7:30 and promises to be a great time. Max, always a pleasure. It's great talking to you again.
Thank you. Likewise, Wayne. I hope to see you there Saturday night.
Max Weinberg, longtime drummer for the Boss and the E Street Band. He'll be with his show, the Jukebox Show, at the Thrasher this Saturday night at 7:30.